front line of the culture war. It's time for another conceptual guerrilla report with your host, Joe Lyle. By now you've heard about the AstroTurf ride at the healthcare town halls. We caught wind of an Organizing for America event at Lake Eola in Orlando. Local teabag groups caught wind of it too, and promptly announced a counter-demonstration. I rounded up my boom man, camera operator, and good friend Jim Weeks, and off we went to Orlando. Here's what happened. For those of you who've never been, Lake Eola is right smack in the heart of sparkling downtown Orlando. I gotta tell you, we were expecting a riot. What we found was anything but. The most exciting thing going on was a craft show of some sort, including some guy selling steel drums. Mind you, I didn't need a riot to do my job. I'm not there to yell and scream, call people names, or otherwise abuse them. I'm there to ask questions. You'd be surprised what you can learn. Of course, you have to find some vocal activists, patriotic wavers of the big flag of freedom, who are willing to answer questions.
Are you following me with that camera?
You'd think there'd be plenty of people chomping at the bit to have their say.
I don't want to be on camera.
But offer them a chance to speak to a wider audience?
No. Go ahead.
And their paranoia kicks in. Still, we did manage to talk to some people.
Obamunism. What's that?
It's communism. It's like a take on communism, socialism.
I got you. Socialism, communism. Is it all the same?
Yep, almost. Actually, they're very different if you really study it.
You got that? Communism and socialism are exactly the same, only completely different, or something like that. That's for Obama.
So which one is he?
He's Marxist. After all this time, I've gone back and forth and listened to a lot of things. He's closer to Marxist than socialist.
You don't say. A Marxist, is he?
Perhaps, or socialist. I don't even know. Marxism is what is Marxism?
I see. You don't really know what that is, but it sure does sound bad. There actually weren't very many people out on either side of this great debate, but there were a few.
There's supposed to be a counter demonstration opposing the health care reform.
How's that a counter demonstration?
Well, because they were responding to the demonstration for it.
You sure
That's what they call it.
Who's they?
Orlando Tea Party or something like that. I don't know.
Interesting. She doesn't seem to have heard about the counter demonstration. We got that a lot.
This is a rally for Barack Obama's health care.
Where is the rally? Where is the rally? I mean, I haven't seen any rally. I mean, I haven't seen anybody. I think there's more of us than them.
We're certainly not a rally for the health care.
But then again, there's not only 200 seats here that they can fill with labor and.
Why are you here?
Because we're angry. We're the angry.
You showed up. You just come out on a Sunday morning?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not sure what they thought they were accomplishing. Their own organizers publicize it on the internet.
Let me tell you how I found it. There's a Tea Party website with listings of links.
Yeah.
And there's an Orlando group listed.
Yeah.
And you click on the Orlando group, and it comes up and it tells you about, and it calls it a counter demonstration. I didn't call it that. They did.
Okay.
Some of the folks I talked to were barely worth it.
You don't consider, for example, economic catastrophes like the Great Depression to be a condition that the country needs defense from?
And President Wilson prolonged that agony, didn't he?
President Wilson?
Yeah.
President Wilson?
I don't know. How did President Wilson prolong that agony?
We got out of the Depression 10 years after Europe.
How do we get out of the war?
Not with the government getting involved.
Really? You don't know how we got out of it?
I know how we got out of it.
How we get out of it?
We got out of it by getting companies to start hiring people and not building bridges.
How do we get companies to start hiring people?
Give them a tax break.
You mean you say we cut taxes in the 30s, and that's how we got out of the Great Depression?
No, that's not how we only got out of it. That was part of it.
I see. We got out of the Great Depression with tax cuts. Whose tax cuts? Warren G. Harding? Where does she study American history anyway?
I don't think the public school system's done a very good job.
Oh, I see. Doesn't like those public schools. I didn't ask where she went to school. I'm not sure I want to know. Other folks were at least a little better informed. One woman had her very own printout of a viral email that's been going around.
Now, this came out of the Heritage Foundation, okay?
That's what she said anyway. I found a page with her very talking points from an outfit called Liberty Counsel, apparently associated with, wait for it, Liberty University. Let's listen to some of those talking points.
Okay, here. No company can sue the government on price fixing and no judicial review against a government monopoly. That's against the law.
Where'd you see that?
That you find on page 124, lines 24 through 25.
When I got back to the house, I found the bill. Here's what the section she was talking about actually says. It is part of an administrative process for setting rates under the public option. And what it says is that there shall be no administrative or judicial review of the payment rate or methodology, that's the methodology for setting the rate, established under this section or under section 224. It doesn't say anything about judicial review in the case of monopolies or price fixing or anything else about that. Where they got that from? Beats me. Let's listen to another one.
There's one here that is just absolutely hideous because it says that, the government will have direct access to your bank accounts for electronic fund transfers.
Now that was a popular one. Listen to this guy.
They don't come to my house telling me what I can do with my children. They don't come to my house telling me what I can do with my end of life. They don't come to my house and deduct money from my bank account.
His sidekick was even more worried about it.
Government to reconcile your payment.
Turn over your freedoms to the federal government. That's the bottom line.
What do you bet she trusts the government to lock people up on their bare say-so? That the people they're locking up are terrorists. Oh, and that provision requiring electronic transfers? Requiring now.
Here, the bill says that will be a requirement.
Remember that? Well, forget it. Here's what the bill says. It has goals for financial and administrative transaction, talking about the goals for standards. And it has in subsection 4 of that provision requirements for specific standards, including C. The word is enable, not require, enable electronic funds transfers in order to allow automatic reconciliation with the related health care payment and remittance advice between the healthcare provider and the insurance company who is providing the remittance. It doesn't even have anything to do with ordinary consumers. Some of their concerns were just plain silly.
The tax imposed under this section shall not be treated as a tax.
To which I said,
Okay, so
They're going to tax us, but yet not call it a tax?
well, I think
pay attention while I explain this provision before I ever saw it, mind you. If you read, I don't even know what that section says.
Well,
but I will tell you. I will tell you what it's. I will tell you. They left out the rest of it. It says shall not be treated as a tax for purposes of whatever it is. It's not being treated as a tax.
Well, why don't you go back and read that? I don't want anything that says that.
You got that? And what does the actual language of the bill actually say? Well, it starts, it's a section 59C, and it begins this way. In the case of a taxpayer other than a corporation, that's individuals, there is hereby imposed, in addition to any other tax imposed by this subtitle, basically it's a surtax on millionaires. As a part of that tax on millionaires, and I don't believe this woman qualifies for the tax. As part of that tax, it says the tax imposed under this section shall not be treated as a tax imposed by this chapter for purposes of determining the amount of any credit. Basically, it says that the tax isn't a tax for purposes of certain health care tax credits. In other words, it plugs a loophole, and it has no effect whatever, none, zip, nada, on the young lady I'm talking to. And that's the way it was. I'm Joe Lyles. Don't miss the next action-packed conceptual guerrilla report. These interviews are part of my video documentary. The title is Megadittoes, Exploring Rush Limbaugh's America. I've interviewed dozens of folks just like these, including organizers, precinct captains, party chairmen, legislators, And we're not finished. For the 3 days around 9/11, starting Thursday, September 10th, and going through Saturday, September 12th, there will be hundreds anyway of Teabaggers gathering in Washington, D.C. I need to be there. I need your help. Please consider taking a few minutes to visit cgradio.net or just use the PayPal button on this page and help us out with this project. I'm Joe Lyles. Stay tuned for the next report from the front line.